Hey guys, welcome to LIFM. I'm here with PTP, and today we're going to be discussing the new commander candidates from Gatecrash. So we're going to start with Borigmas, Enraged, and he's 4 red, green for a 7/6 body, trample, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all lands reveal this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. His second ability is you can discard a land to have him do 3 damage to a creature or player. What do you think about this one, PTP?
I like this creature. He's definitely needs to be in a deck that's built for ramp, land heavy. But if you build a deck around him, the ability to discard a land for 3 damage is very strong. He reminds me of a red card where you used to be able to discard a land, a mountain for 2 damage.
The enchantment?
Yeah, the enchantment.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name?
Yeah. Something Assault.
Seismic Assault.
Yeah,
yes.
Seismic Assault.
Very much like Seismic Assault, except it doesn't matter what color land is 3 damage to creature or player. So I think he needs a deck built around him, but I like him.
I mean, and worst case scenario, he's a 7/6 trampler, right?
Worst case.
Yeah, worst case scenario is a 7/6 trampler. I mean, I already have a red-green deck, my Rada deck, which he could fit in, but I wouldn't use him as a commander because I like the speed that Rada provides and the consistent ramp. But yeah, this guy is definitely a decent commander if you build around him, like you said.
Most definitely.
We're going to move on to Prime Speaker Zagana, which is 2 green, blue on a 1/1 body for a legendary Merfolk Wizard. And she enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on her, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. And the second ability says when she enters the battlefield, you draw cards equal to her power, to its power. What do you think of this one?
This is one of the most interesting commanders. I think it's also the color grouping that could use more variety in commanders, I think, as well too. So that's why I like it. The ability, I think, suits a wide variety of decks. It kind of fits with the 1/1 counter theme of green-blue.
Yeah.
So it's really synergetic with a lot of cards you'd want to put in a green-blue deck. Especially, I think a lot of cards that are hard to utilize at this point. It gives them access to 1/1 counters easily.
True.
And I think any deck that uses 1/1 counters, like I think even my Mimeoplasm deck, this would be a strong choice.
This is a good reanimation target.
A very good target. You draw a lot of cards. It would almost be like a mini Grizzlebrand.
You could end up drawing 10 or more cards with this if you copy
exactly,
it with
and without the life game. So I think it would really be strong in that sense. And I think creative players are really going to find ways to abuse the ability.
Yeah, it's a good color combination, the green and the blue. You can definitely throw this in a Bant deck or something like that, or you can build around it. I mean, right now the biggest blue-green generals is probably Experimental Krag or whatever he's called.
Or no, actually
and
the
elf visionary as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can definitely build around this deck. With the 1/1 counters, Simic has had that ability since the original Ravnica and Guild Pack sets, right? So there's a lot of cards that can utilize the counters and stuff like that. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. It's another one, though, that it's going to be your commander. You're going to have to absolutely build around it to get the best out of it. But you can just throw it into another deck, like you said, the Mimeoplasm deck, splash it in there, and it'll be good. Okay, the next one we're going to be talking about is Aurelia, the War Leader. Now this one is definitely something I'm going to be using in my Kalia deck. So it's 2 red, white on a 3/4 body. It's a legendary angel, of course. It's a Boris creature with flying, vigilance, and haste. And her other abilities, whenever she attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control. And after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. What do you think of this one?
This is one of my favorites. I definitely like the aggro strategies. So this is right up my alley. My favorite thing about this guy is he doesn't have to survive combat for everyone to attack. He just needs to attack. So I really like that. And a 3/4 body with flying, vigilant, haste is not shabby either.
It's not.
So I really think this is interesting. Like you said, to add into a lot of decks. Any red-white deck, I think it's a must-add.
Definitely fits in your red-white deck with the angel that you're using now.
Exactly.
Either as a substitute commander or just another card in the deck, right?
Exactly. I thought of using him as a substitute commander, definitely. Or even, it's never bad to draw this card.
Never bad.
In an aggro deck, I can never see myself, unless I have one in play already, and commander you don't, so I can't see why you wouldn't throw this into any red-white aggro deck.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely something I'm probably going to be putting in my Kalia deck.
Me as well.
I mean, it doesn't trigger from Kalia putting it into play, but just even...
disappointing.
I mean, a turn where you have a few creatures out, you can hard cast it. It has haste, so that same turn you can attack with everything.
Yeah.
Put something to play with Kalia. You get to untap all your stuff and attack again, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, even the flavor text on this card is just ridiculous. When Razia was aloof and untouchable, Aurelia was on the front lines calling for war. Like, she's been around, you know what I mean? She didn't just come out of nowhere. You didn't hear about her because she was on the front lines, you know?
Definitely.
So and the flavor text is
that's one thing I like about Magic. I think flavor text just really adds a different layer to the game, and
a lot of times
it keeps it fresh. You know?
Yeah, a lot of times the flavor text is just one of my favorite parts. I'm gonna save this guy for last.
Right.
Okay, so next we're gonna talk about Ubzadat Ghost Council, and this guy is 1 white black on a 5/5 body. Apparently this guy is a spirit advisor. I don't know if he's advising spirits or he's a spirit that advises. I don't know.
I've kind of been a fan of Orzo, and they seem to have a lot of meetings, like a lot of advisors, a lot of counselors. I don't know.
I don't know if a lot get accomplished in this guild.
I don't know, man. It seems like everyone's losing life. I don't know.
This guy's first ability is that whenever he enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life.
Yeah.
His second ability is at the beginning of your end step, you may exile him, and if you do, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. He also gains haste. What do you think of this guy?
I like him definitely as a commander on his own. We talked about this card, and the life loss ability, it's good. It's not overbearing. Where if it were to be all players,
if it was each opponent, it would be pretty ridiculous in multiplayer.
Yeah, the card I think cries out for it, like flavor wise, but like when you think about it, that'd be way too strong.
It'd be strong. It'd be an exsanguinate every turn.
Exactly. And as you said, it's very prone to being hard to hit with removal.
Yeah, every sorcery speed removal, you know, with unless you have something like Leyline in play to make it instant speed, it ditches Wrath of God, it ditches all those sorcery speed removals because it's almost always going to be exile. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it. But also when it comes back, it has haste. So someone else wiped the board. When it comes back, someone's taking 5. In addition to someone taking 2 from him triggering when he comes into play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think this guy is pretty decent at protecting himself. I mean, the other one before him was also good too. The original Ghost Council.
Yes.
Also had an ability to kind of protect himself. But yeah, I think this is a solid card. I don't think you inherently need to build around it for it to be decent. It's one of those cards that can just be decent on its own.
On its own, in those colors, yeah, definitely.
I mean, this guy, the last guy we're going to talk about here is kind of like that in the same vein that it can be pretty solid on its own as well, but if you build around it, he's a monster.
Yeah, I think all these cards, when you put a deck that really brings out their strength, I think you could really find each of these become really powerful. And this guy that we're talking about is the biggest example of that. So why don't you start us off? Yeah, so the last one we're going to talk about is Lazov Dimir Mastermind. And this guy is blue, black on a 3/3 body. This guy is a shapeshifter with hexproof, and whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, not just play, from anywhere, you may have Lazov Dimir Mastermind become a copy of that card, except its name is still Lazov. It's legendary in addition to its other types, and it gains hexproof and this ability. So this guy is just, it's a wall of text, but basically, this is a retarded clone. Yeah. I think Clone,
it's a little bit more.
It doesn't even do. It's definitely more than Clone because the hexproof is what stands out with me. I mean, think about how many cards that just are okay, but they have hexproof. So imagine at the point now you're copying some of the best creatures you can find, and they're untargetable. For decks that if decks don't have board wipes, I think they can be in a world of hurt.
Say you copy Avacyn. So you have an 8/8 vigilant, indestructible, hexproof creature.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an extreme example, but yeah, the hexproof is...
There's a lot of extreme examples with when we bring hexproof. It's one of those abilities that is hexproof and double strike, in my opinion. You have to be very careful what cards are given hexproof and double strike because they quickly become broken. So I think I like this guy. I'm a kind of guy I like to build around commanders. So I think he's definitely an interesting guy for that. You brought up Mesmeric Orb. I mean, any discard effect,
traumatize, anything like that.
This brain freeze. There's a lot of things that.
And there's a lot of cards coming in the new set. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of cards that come in the new set. They're gonna
be milling
effects.
Because the mirror's in it.
Yeah. So that fits right along with that. So I think it's and there's enough milling effects. You don't have to look too hard to find those. So
yeah.
I think some interesting guys are gonna have some fun decks around him, and I think I'll let you go from here, but I really think he's a solo creature as well too in any deck.
Well, yeah. The thing with me is I'm gonna use him, but I'm gonna use him in my Sig River Cutthroat deck. Mainly because Sig is less of a target than this guy in bigger games. And I think if you have this guy out, people are just gonna want to get rid of you or him.
Definitely.
And I mean, to get rid of this guy isn't that easy. You're gonna have to use a board wipe to get rid of him. Spot removal is not gonna work unless you're running something random like Innocent Blood or Bartering Blood. This guy's not gonna go away without a board wipe, you know. So I think this guy definitely makes your target, especially if you build around him with cards like Mesmeric Orb or Traumatize or whatever. Any cards like those are the cards that people don't like to see, basically, right? So this guy I think will make your target, but this guy, it's a really good card. It's my favorite out of the 5 cards, easily my favorite.
Sometimes it's fun to be the target.
Sometimes it is fun to be the target. I'm a little bit biased because I like Dimir a lot, but yeah, I think this guy's a beast. We're gonna try to shoot up another video with some more cards that are good for Commander, but I'm waiting for all the previews to be released for them. But if you guys can leave in the comments what you think about these Commanders, and which ones you think are the best ones, or which ones you're going to use. And as usual, man, thanks for watching, guys.